Hey y'all, welcome back to part 2 of our practical programming lesson. This is our programming guide for personal trainers. We just went over the basics and the overview of putting together our practical programming. Now what we're going to get into is the fitness variables. So we're going to talk about session time management, sets, reps and weight, rest, and a topic called forced intensity. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about session time management. So, the first thing you're going to think about is, what did the client sign up for? Is it a 30-minute session, a 45-minute session, a 60-minute session? This is really going to dictate how you're going to put your program together. And also, how long will they stay? Let's say you have an open gym, or you have that kind of fusion where people can come in and like you have an open gym setting. I guess I don't really know how to put it other than that. Is then the consideration is going to be not what they signed up for, but what are the client's goals and levels of motivation. Can the client come in to warm up, and can they do some stuff on their own? So that's going to dictate what you need to put into the session and how you're going to manage your time. So let me give you guys some examples for that. All right, so first of all, very popular are 30-minute sessions. And here are some recommendations. Number one is do a shorter rest time. With 30 minutes, you just don't have a lot of time to be taking, a 2 or 3 minute rest. Pairing exercises up together, like in supersets or giant sets, we'll talk about that when we get to the forced intensity in more detail. Maybe a shorter setup for the exercise. So if you have to spend 5 minutes, loading up a bar or getting an exercise ready, you either need to do that before the client comes in, or you need to choose exercises that, you can just grab and go right away. 30 minutes. A lot of barbell loading and unloading is not going to be advantageous. Maybe you want to choose more dumbbell work with a 30-minute session. Or a warm-up. If it's a 30-minute session, and you have an open gym, or you have the ability for the client to come in there and warm up on their own, I cannot stress enough the importance of having your client do their own warm up. You can talk to them and be like, hey, part of the compromise of a 30-minute session is you have some self-responsibility. You got to warm up on your own. And then will the client do, what I call homework? And this may be something that is an exercise that does not need to be spotted, that does not need to be watched, like a very simple, kind of more harmless exercise. So let's say you have a male client that wants to make his arms bigger. During the 30-minute session, you do all the complicated stuff, but maybe at the end you have him do like a couple sets of like bicep curls, tricep press down, something like that. Maybe the homework for your client that wants to work on core more might be, hey, I need you to do 100 crunches before you go home. Like this is the end of our session, but your homework is you got to go do some ab crunches, you got to go do some planks, and have the client go do that. So that's a real good way to kind of maximize the client's results in a 30-minute session. With a 60-minute session, this may be something more for beginners, because like you can warm them up, you can help cool them down, you can do some assisted stretching in this one, or it might be an advanced client to where you're just working them like a dog the whole 60 minutes, and you still need to have them come in and do their warm up and do their cool down at the end. I find that my clients that aren't necessarily like super motivated, but they have the expendable income for a 60-minute session, they do want you to take them through a warm-up. They do want you to do the assisted stretching with them. So you're going to get an actual maybe like 45 minutes of actual training time in there. So just some considerations. It really depends on the client. But think about these things before we put together our workout program. Okay, so with rep range, meaning repetitions. So it's generally accepted that 1 to 5 reps is mostly strength, 6 to 12 reps or 8 to 12 reps is your classical hypertrophy, mostly size, and then more than 12 reps is mostly endurance. However, if you only do one thing forever, you will hit a plateau doing that, and you'll either need to work in the strength range or the endurance range if you're really trying to build size. So all rep ranges do belong in a workout program. You should take a holistic approach to doing this. You just need to have a focus. So if you have a focus of that workout and it's a hypertrophy mostly workout, yeah, like 70% should be in that 6 to 12 rep range, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad idea to do a couple of heavy 5 reps or maybe a couple burnout sets with like a 12 plus rep range. Okay? Also, let's talk about sets. Adding sets is the easiest way to increase volume. If you just do more sets, you increase the volume of the exercises of the workout exponentially. It's a great alternative if a client can't handle intensity or they won't handle intensity. So we're talking about like average people here. Let's say that this person, they don't want to just go balls out every set and train, as close to failure as they can. That's okay. A good, you don't got to sit there and scream at them, make them get those extra reps in. A good way to say, compromise with that is say, okay, you know what? If you're just going to kind of push hard on 3 sets, we'll actually be doing 5 sets. Okay? You don't have to tell them that. You can just have them do it, but something to consider there. There needs to be a balance between the amount of sets and reps that you do. So generally, the lower amount of reps, as you do that in 1 to 5 rep range, you're generally going to need to do more sets to keep the volume up, and vice versa. If you have somebody do 25 reps of something, you don't necessarily need to have them do 10 sets of that. So generally between 2 to 6 sets per exercise is a good home base. Most people need to start off with about 3 sets. So let's say you have an area of focus or importance. You can certainly add more sets to that. Let's say you want to add more fun to the exercise and you want to do a little bit higher rep range for like bicep curl, tricep press down. Maybe you could do like 2 sets of 20, 2 sets of 15. Okay, that would be acceptable too. I mean, there's a lot of variety to this. There's no quote unquote right or wrong answer to this, but generally between 2 and 6 sets is a good home base. Like, I wouldn't get too far out of that. 1 set is pretty low, 2 sets is pretty low. Doing 15 sets on something is kind of closer to the ludicrous range. So keep that in mind. But you got to do what you got to do. Let's talk about weight. So use as much weight as they can handle for the rep range that you prescribe. So here's my sexist generalization. You can send the hate mail to foodandfitnessonline.com. Men generally go too heavy. If you let them pick a weight on their own, men are going to bro out. They're going to load up the bench press at 225 pounds, and they haven't lifted in 10 years. They're going to ego lift. This is an observation I've noticed for training for over 10 years. Women typically go too light. It might be the pervasive media that, light weights help to tone, make a lean muscle, get you tiny, with a smaller weight. So the solution to that is, you track your client's workouts in the workout sheet that we went over in the first video. And we'll be going back over that as well too. So you choose a weight that's appropriate, you track it in the sheet, and you progress them from there. Okay. Also, the other thing I want to go over with variables, with reps, sets, and weight, is these are all something that you want to progress when the client comes in. We'll talk about this more in the periodization, but generally when a client comes in, you either want them doing a couple extra reps, maybe an extra set or 2, or extra weight, or maybe a combination of the 3. Excuse me. All right, rest. So I'm talking about clients here buying a 60-minute or a 30-minute session or whatever. The rest time is primarily dictated by the duration of the workout. You have some wiggle room for focus, but you need to be giving the client the most amount of value and the most amount of work in the time that you have allotted. So some classic rest time generalizations are 3 or more minutes of rest is something you're going to do when you're training for strength, 60 to 90 seconds of rest when you're training for size, and less than 60 seconds of rest when you're training for endurance. But it is completely moronic to write an entire workout program for a 30-minute workout with 5-minute rest intervals. You're going to finish with one exercise if you do that. So, even though these are the classic rest time generalizations for strength, size, and endurance, I recommend that you use the workout duration as the way that you dictate your rest time. So for most people, I'll give you guys a generalization here. It's around 30-second to 60-second rests and 30-minute sessions, and 1 to 2 minute rest and 60-minute sessions, just depending on what they need. Okay, it can be higher, it can be lower, but that's going to still help you guys get a lot of work in, a lot of density into the exercise program. Okay, let's talk about some forced intensity topics. So first of all, training to failure. This is where you can't do a single more rep. You want to use this as a tool, not the rule. I generally recommend that you save this for your last set. Okay. This can also be a great tool for you as a trainer to see if your client is sandbagging you or not, if they're holding out. So if the first couple of sets they get a set of 10 and a set of 10, and then you tell them, okay, we got to go all out, and on the last set they hit 20, you know that the next time you're increasing their weight. Okay. All right, supersets. So this is where you do an exercise back and forth. You can also do like giant sets, so that's doing kind of like even a small circuit, so like a superset, a superset, a superset. But I'm going to keep this in kind of the same topic between supersets, giant sets, circuits. This is a great way to increase the amount of exercise in a given time. So this way you're shortening up rest time, you're getting them moving. This is something I highly recommend for like those 30-minute sessions. Drop sets. These are a great way to add extra sets, so to speak, in a shorter amount of time. This is where you're lifting with a weight, you hit failure, then you choose the next lightest weight that you can, do a few reps, choose the next lightest weight that you can, do a few reps. Some people call this running the rack. This is something that you want to use sparingly as well, typically for the last set. Forced reps. This is where the trainer helps the person, get those last 2 or 3 reps. So they've already hit failure, and now you're helping them do an additional couple of reps. So you're going to use this the same way that you use training to failure as a tool. Rest pause. So this is where the person hits failure, they rest for a few seconds, they bust out a couple more reps, they rest for a few seconds, they bust out a couple more reps. So once again, this is similar to a drop set in the way that you want to use it. And then a compound set is where you use 2 different analogous exercises back to back. So this may be where you have the individual do a bench press, and on their last set of bench press they hit failure, then they jump on the floor and they do push-ups. So kind of like a drop set, but choosing a different exercise instead of just a lighter weight. Okay, so let's go through some examples in our workout program of how we can modify our rest time, choose our weight, sets, reps, and then forced intensity. And then we'll come back to our summary here. Okay, so here's the workout program we wrote last time. And let's say that we have let's go with a 30-minute workout session here. Okay, so with a 30-minute workout session, maybe I don't want to choose bench press because I have to load up the bar. I'm going to do a dumbbell chest press because they can grab the dumbbell and they can get to work right away. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to superset this with the dumbbell row. So I do a little hash mark there to denote a superset. Maybe they're doing a dumbbell chest press and we're doing a lat pull down. And so we have a step up and we have a single leg deadlift. Well, here maybe what I want to do is, because these are unilateral exercises, so they do them all on one side, all on the other, I'm actually going to have this person do a goblet squat so that they can get both legs done at the same time. And then here I might have them do like a Romanian deadlift. And I'm going to pair these exercises together. I'll do a Romanian deadlift with dumbbells. Okay. Alright, so then they want to do some of their extra stuff. So here we have our glute bridge, our lying leg raise, and our plank. Perhaps for this one, what I would like to do is I'll do kind of like a little circuit set. So I have them do their glute bridge, their lying leg raise, and their plank. And that way now I don't have to do rest time. So I might do no rest here, and I might do 30 seconds of rest here. Okay, so they'll get no rest, they'll get 30 seconds. Same with the goblet squats and the RDLs. And here with the glute bridge, the lying leg raise, and the plank, I might do no rest the whole time. Because these are not big compound exercises, they can probably just keep doing them back to back to back and do a little bit faster. Okay, so I only have 30 minutes, so I'm going to do 3 sets of all of these exercises, but because I am supersetting everything, I should be able to get done a lot faster here. Okay, so for the rep range, so this is where you're going to have your focus here. Maybe I want to do a classic kind of hypertrophy here, 8 to 12, and with my vertical push-pull, like my shoulder press and my lat pull-down, maybe here I'm actually going to do 2 reps and I'm going to do 20 reps, or 2 sets and 20 reps. So that way I'm balancing sets with reps there. Okay, 8 to 12, so I'm writing all this out because I can reference it later. Okay, and then the glute bridge, lying leg raise, and a plank. Okay, plank is a timed exercise, so I might be doing this one for 30 seconds. And let's do a little bit higher rep range there. So we'll do our 15 sets and reps and all of that good stuff. Okay, so the exercise is going to be dictated by the weight is going to be dictated by the client and how much they can lift. So I'm not going to just guess on weight here. But what I might want to do is on my last exercise for everything is here I might do a drop set. So that way I can get an extra set in. I'm only really doing 3 sets, but I can get in technically a 4th set without resting and getting that in right away. Okay, dumbbell shoulder press, lat pull down, that's good. Okay, and maybe with the goblet squat, I could also do some forced intensity there. I might do like a compound set. So after the goblet squat, I might have them just do a lunge. Maybe after the Romanian deadlifts, I might have them do leg curls. Okay, and that's a way that you can kind of add in some force intensity. Like I said, use these things sparingly, like I'm going to do it on the last set. I'm not going to do these, every time. This might just be something for this workout, and it's really going to be dictated by the rest there as well too. So the other thing that you can do to make sure that your workout is something that can get completed in the amount of time is you might want to make a note. Maybe I'm going to highlight these exercises as something I'm going to put like in a blue, and to me that might mean that this is homework. This is something that, oops, I just hit my microphone there. This is something that the client can do if we have to take extra time here, and I'll have them do this circuit on their own. This might be something that maybe you do have time for, and what you find is that you can add in more sets or more exercises in here as well. So that is an example of how to write a 30-minute workout here. And the other thing that you can do is you can calculate this up. So if you have 30 seconds of rest for 3 exercises, that means they're going to be resting about 90 seconds in between, and you can add these up, guess about how long it's going to take to set up and for the client to complete each of these exercises, and you'll be able to go from there. Okay, if you want to increase the rest time, you're going to have to decrease sets or decrease the amount of exercises that you're doing. So that's how you put that together in a balance. All right, and let's finish off with our summary. So first of all, session time management is key in choosing the variables. You have your variety, your sets, your reps, and you have your focus for what you're doing for that workout. Rest is mostly dictated from session time, and then you can use forced intensity, so training to failure, drop sets, rest pause, forced reps, those sorts of things for a time management. Okay, so now what we're going to do is next up we're going to talk about periodization and putting this all together, wrapping it up, and actually writing like a workout program that makes sense over the course of time, and something that's really going to progress your clients and make sure they're not hitting plateaus. So go ahead and join me for that now.